In 2007, one of America's top liberal arts colleges began a new chapter in its storied history, launching a national search for its 19th president.
Well, DePauw in 2007, 2008 was in a very good place. We didn't realize, though, what its potential was in total.
I think we were looking for someone who would have fresh eyes for DePauw and really be able to articulate a vision for where we were going to go.
This is a big step for our university. It's the first time in 22 years we've had a new president. And without further ado, I would like to introduce him to you, Dr. Brian Casey.
There's a jewel of a liberal arts college in the middle of your state. And I want people around the country, when they're thinking about higher education, when they're thinking about where they want to go to school, I want them to be thinking about DePauw.
DePauw University alumni take pride in hearing their school called the Harvard of the Midwest. Soon, the Harvard influence might really be felt.
Brian Casey plans to tell the story of DePauw all around the world.
I think his energy was apparent from the very, very start, from the first interview during the search to his first meetings on the campus.
The new president brought a Cambridge colleague, Christopher Wells, to serve as his chief of staff during the transition.
He first brought me to Greencastle, and he had maybe a month or two of more familiarity than I did with the campus, but already he had an excitement, a sort of passion you could see in his eyes for what it might be like to be here and have the reins of a university.
Trouble don't last always. Don't last.
And now, by the authority of the DePauw University Board of Trustees, I bestow upon you the Presidential Medallion, the Great Seal of the University.
It is with profound humility that I accept these responsibilities. Beyond the news of the day is this task. Beneath these banners is this task. When the tents go away, there is this task. Our task, of course, is to give license to wonder, to create possibilities commensurate with our students' capacity to dream.
President Casey took office as national headlines were dominated by the arrival of the Great Recession.
Right after Brian Casey started in July, that fall was pretty rocky from an economic standpoint in the next few years. So we did have challenges.
But DePauw's 19th president was not deterred. He created a comprehensive master plan for the campus, which, among other things, converted the century-old Carnegie Library on campus to the admission building, offering visitors a breathtaking view of East College as they begin their tours.
And he said, why does Anderson Street go one way away from campus?
The street that brings many prospective students and alumni to campus was transformed and made two-way so that visitors are now greeted by the symbol of DePauw.
And it's that kind of energy and innovation that made everybody love Brian just from the start.
The new administration worked with the city to create a winning bid for a Stellar Communities grant from the state. It led to renovations in downtown Greencastle and new vitality in the courthouse square. That included the opening of Music on the Square, a venue designed to build new bonds between the city and the campus.
And so I think we're on the right track, and I think we have the right direction. And fortunately, it's a love fest because it's good for all of us.
DePauw's 23 athletic teams, which compete for first in their conference, and much of the student body that values fitness and wellness, now have first-rate facilities. The Lilly Center, built in 1982, underwent a major expansion and renovation, which included the state-of-the-art Welch Fitness Center.
In many ways, the athletic campus, Blackstock and indoor track and tennis, were beyond the campus, even though they were part of what we owned and what we took care of and what we used on a daily basis.
That's no longer the case, as Hannah Street now connects the main campus with the athletic campus, including the new Revis Stadium.
Brian had a vision for Division III athletics that I think is, bar none, better than any in the country.
Under construction and slated for a fall opening is Hoover Dining Hall, a space in the center of campus designed to bring the community together for meals, conversations, and special events.
Beauty matters, and a campus that speaks to its audience through its architecture is a rare and marvelous thing, and he's certainly given us that.
After all that is done, we will have a stunning campus, all due to Brian Casey.
On the academic side, President Casey envisioned a place where students could connect their classroom and campus experiences with their next steps in life, whether they be at graduate school or in the workplace, and created the Hubbard Center for Student Engagement.
When you're at DePauw, you're taking classes, and how do those classes engage you with the world? And so that's the moment, that's the place to have that conversation.
Casey also bolstered one of the nation's oldest schools of music, which is changing the national conversation about how musicians should prepare for life.
He was the one who hired a talented dean, who supported some very difficult times and some very difficult issues, and embraced the idea that maybe we should be aspiring to create the 21st century musician.
Brian Casey, to me, is the visual president of DePauw University. He's ever present on the DePauw campus, students seeking him out and he seeking them out, talking to him, knowing their names, a very student-friendly president. Secondly, though, Brian's always thought that for prospective students to get interested in DePauw, they have a first impression, and that is the campus. So his duty, he thought, was to make this campus as beautiful as it could be.
He always had an eye on the student experience, and that drove his decision-making throughout his presidency.
I could not have picked out my college president from a lineup when I was an undergrad. I've been in student life, running student life for 2 years, and I know more students know him than know me.
I want to see your face. I want you to come to my events. I want you to be engaged in conversation. I want you to actively listen to me. And I think that he gets that. And I think that's what makes him such an exceptional person and human being and leader. I don't think there's anything that Brian Casey sets out to do that doesn't get accomplished because people believe in him.
Brian believes to his core in the importance of tradition.
Ever since 2008, on opening day, new DePauw students processed through campus on their way to the opening convocation. Also initiated a celebration for students and their parents the night before commencement, called DePauw Under the Stars.
And he brings a tear to our eye when he reads the president's charge to the graduating class, which has really become quite an emotional statement.
Those are things that have been important to President Casey, and I think he's caused them to become important to us.
I think these things build a sense of relationship with the institution that's important and powerful and likely to be a source of sustenance for the university decades to come.
The ongoing campaign for DePauw, which is very close to reaching its $300 million goal, aims to take DePauw's excellence to greater levels and to make this experience available to all students, regardless of their financial means, through the DePauw Trust.
And I think the DePauw Trust will be a lasting legacy of Brian's, in my opinion.
And DePauw University's president says the upcoming academic year will be his final year there. Brian W. Casey is stepping down to become the president of Colgate University in New York State.
I do hope that Brian will always understand how much we appreciate all he has done. He has worked 24/7, 365 days a year for 8 years.
I think the future of DePauw is sound because of Brian Casey and what he's done here.
A word I would use to describe Brian Casey would be immaculate, would be leader, would be friends, would be passionate, would be charismatic.
I think he brought to us the ability and the value of dreaming, thinking big, to the point where from a facilities perspective we should inspire.
It sort of woke up the university, not that it was sleeping, but to the possibilities that exist. And you know, we're on a journey. We've got a lot of work still to do in many areas, but I think Brian was a catalyst to get us going.
Since we've had Brian Casey, we've had about 4,000 DePauw students graduate and go into the world. And we're very appreciative for the leadership that he provided. We wish you well, Brian.
The world needs this good and necessary place. It is the hope of our students, it's the beacon of our alumni, it's the sustaining groves for our faculty, it is the hope of the world.